Hello, everyone. Thank you for checking out this episode of Really Dicey. This is Manny. I'm here with Matt, and we're here with Ian Watson. Thank you for joining us, sir. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good, good. So tell us, what's your involvement in this project exactly?
I'm the co-developer with Chris Allen on Victorian Mage. I was a fairly late addition in the game. There was some shuffling around in development, different sets of developers, and it got to. And Chris is a great developer, but he didn't necessarily have the knowledge of mage lore, which you would need to do a Victorian Mage book. So that's why I was brought on board, just to make sure everything checked out in terms of the existing mage continuity.
Okay. So Victorian Mage, for people that have not heard of it before, how would you describe it? Would you say it's Mage The Ascension, but in Victorian times?
Yes, it is. It's unlike Victorian Age Vampire, which covered a fairly small slice between 1880 to 1897. This covers the entire Victorian period, from 1836 to 1901, I think it is. Between 1851 and 1897, which is sort of a transitional period, the Technocratic Union. At the beginning of the period, they reorganized themselves under Prince Albert into the Technocratic Union, and then at the end of the period, they reorganized themselves again under Queen Victoria as what we understand as the modern Mage the Ascension. So there's that middle period where they're still trying to figure things out, and they have a different structure than they did in the previous period or in the period afterwards.
Okay. So Victorian Mage is the 20th anniversary edition. What would you say is
Yes.
the significant changes between what's coming out now compared to what came out before?
Well, it's still is a Mage 20th Anniversary Edition book, so it does require the Mage 20 core rulebook in order to use. So it's not a huge change, but there are some small differences. If you've played any of the other historical Mage games, such as Dark Ages Mage, then you know that Paradox takes a different form, in the form of Backlash. And in Mage the Sorcerer's Crusade, in the Renaissance period, it takes the form of the Scourge. So similarly, in Victorian Mage, it takes the form of the Straits, which it's you can sort of see the progression towards the paradox that we know and love in modern Mage. But yeah, just there's a few little things that are slightly different, just more period appropriate, but it's not a huge change. If you know modern Mage, you've pretty much got the idea.
I first of all, I just love Mage the Ascension. White Wolf, The World of Darkness was kind of my second big game after D&D, and I played it all throughout college. And Mage the Ascension was my favorite game in the line. So I'm really excited by this. I love the historical games, as you mentioned, the Crusade, Sorcerer's Crusade, Dark Ages. So I had a few questions. So are there going to be Technocratic Union player characters? Can you play within the Order of Reason? Yeah, excellent.
Absolutely. We are framing the Order of Reason. They are the baddies, let's be honest. This is a period of Victorian imperialism, and the Order of Reason is really, really benefiting from that. But we're still letting you play one, not in the sense that we want you to play a bad guy. What do I do about it? How can I change it from within? Because it's such a transitional period for the Technocratic Union, there is such a huge opportunity for you to be able to influence how the Union evolves over time.
Excellent. That's just what I wanted to hear. That's great. So, what can you tell us about the council? What's going on? I hear they're looking for someone to take their ninth seat. Is that right?
Yeah, the Council of Nine has been a Council of Eight almost since the inception of the Council of Nine. So there's a little bit of internal strife because the Order of Hermes and the Corps Celestial, they're also benefiting a lot from imperialism. And the Alibatin are sort of drifting away because they're super not playing on. They've only got, by the end of the period, they've only got a few more years before they take off.
So what about the other factions? What can you tell us about the Marauders and the Fandai? What are they up to?
We don't really have a ton going on with them. I mean, they are covered, but we do have a substantial section on the various disparate crafts.
Okay.
So if you want to play a member of the Bata'a or the Hamka Sabk, just all of those weird little fringe groups that you almost never hear about in the modern period, this is where it really comes to shine, because this is where, you know, sort of the British Empire is expanding all over the world and brushing up against all of these other communities.
What would you say, how would your mage campaign be different in this game than in regular Ascension or Crusade, Sorcerer's Crusade or Dark Ages? What would your mages be doing differently?
If you love the Victorian period, and a lot of people do, that's, you know, sort of the origin of, you know, Gothic horror, this is an excellent playground for mages. This is such a point in a lot of the history of the Technocratic Union and the traditions, and it's really fun just to sort of explore that kind of flashpoint, if you will.
Sure.
Like this is when Iteration X's computer gained sentience. That's cool. This is when Tychoides lands on the moon and, you know, does an orbit around the sun and discovers autochthonia on the side of Earth's orbit. So there's a lot of weird, fun stuff that's happening during this period, and this is the perfect opportunity to explore it.
All right, so what is next after this for Mage The Ascension? Are there any future projects or plans?
Well, we do have a few stretch goals that are being hit, and we've just under 3 weeks left in the campaign. So we might be hitting more stretch goals. I don't know if we're going to get a Victorian Canyon or something, but we do currently have a jumpstart going on, and I think Book of Antagonists is currently being built. Outside of Victorian Mage, earlier this week, we just announced, or is it last week? Recently, within the last week or two, we announced that for the month doing a Lore of the Traditions. So if you're familiar with our Vampire 20th Anniversary Edition line, we did a Lore of the Clans, which was a giant sort of all-in-one clan book with all 13 clans in one book. And this is going to be the same thing for the traditions.
Excellent.
Great. All right, so I will put all the links in the description below. Is there anything that I haven't asked you? Anything you want to share about this that I haven't asked you a question about?
No, I mean I had a ton of fun working on this book, and I really hope everyone else has fun with it.
Thank you, sir, for taking the time to talk to us about this. To our viewers, thank you very much for checking us out. Be safe out there and have a good day.